Hey everybody, welcome to another World Tanks match. This one's in the 121. Now, this is a Chinese tier 10 medium tank. It follows on from the Wheezy 120. I don't play it that often. I kind of prefer the Wheezy 120. They're very similar. The 121 is obviously a little better in terms of soft stats, but it's also, as you can probably see here, quite a bit longer. It's a larger tank and a larger target. In addition, it's a tier 10, so it doesn't obviously see tier 9 top tier games, whereas the Wheezy 120 does. With that said, the 121 is basically more of the same, so if you enjoy the playstyle from the Wheezy 120, the 121 is definitely worth getting. It's one of the more overlooked tier 10s. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, it just takes a bit of care to play because of the gun depression issue. So I definitely recommend it to people who are interested in heading down the Chinese medium line, people who don't mind dealing with poor gun depression and elevation in order to have incredible hitting power. Now I stop here for a moment to try and get a shot into this T-49. Normally I wouldn't do this, but it's a T-49 and I'd like to get his gun out of the fight as quickly as I can. And there we go, nice high roll into his side. Interestingly enough, our team's actually sent mostly mediums to the south. We do have an E75 and an E100 heading that way, and the Löwe's turned around as well, but the tank's actually on the corner of mediums, and I should point out that they are on the corner. They've pushed into the enemy, which is the worst mistake you can possibly make on this map. Do not ever push around that corner, it's fucking retarded. If you look at the stuff they're fighting, not only are they badly outnumbered, but they're also being watched over by an enemy 4005. Now the FV 4005 doesn't give a shit about medium tanks, and if he gets a shot on any of them, they're going to get vaporized. Their support in the form of the heavies does finally arrive, but at this stage it's just a meat grinder. I don't see that ending well for our team, and indeed you'll see it doesn't end well for our team. In the meantime, I scrub a shot rather badly on the 5120. Now, I am in defilade here. He can't really hit me. I suppose he could skim the roof of my turret if he really wanted, but that's about all he can do. And we can see I'm actually fighting a T-55A as well, just ahead of me. Was actually the second one I'd seen in as many games. Twice in a row I encountered them, and the match before this I actually encountered a 260 as well. The 260 and a T-55A were both on my team, not platooned. So I got to watch them play a bit, which was interesting. Poorly aimed shot on my part. Winged the side of the 54E1's cupola and just bounced off. So I'm not doing too well so far. But with the T-54E1 down, I can now push up. I know I'm going to have issues with gun depression here, but I'm just trusting on my big gun to scare these two away. Particularly the 5120, who's very low on health. I go for the cupola shot on the 55A, and it punches clean through. The Waffenträger finishes him off with the 150mm gun. 5120 is now scared shitless, as any reasonable person would be, and RE50M goes to finish him off. Now at this point, I look at the minimap and see the train of enemy tanks heading straight for our base. That was predictable. We've lost all the mediums we had down there, and the heavies as well. Actually, it looks like one of the mediums may have run north. So I decide, instead of pushing on the enemy base or pushing in through the enemy base to shoot them in the back, I'm going to cut through the middle. Now, the reason I don't want to frontally engage them in the south is because they do still have that FV 4005. They've also got a lot of armor. At this point, I could have swung around the north road straight towards our cap. I probably should have in hindsight. It would have given me a much better chance at finishing the E5 and T-54 off. But in the event, I decided to head south instead and try for shots on these guys as they came back to defend their own base. I figured the more of them I could take out of the fight while they were trying to come back and defend their own base, the less I'd have to fight at ours in about 2 minutes' time. So I get a big shot into the side of the 4005 there. That was actually a low roll. This gun, like the Wheezy 120's gun, does 440 alpha. It's basically the same gun, except with slightly better soft stats, and it also has slightly more pen, but not by much. Whereas the Wheezy 120's gun is a slightly worse M62 clone, this gun is literally an M62 clone. It's basically identical. Or at least it was the last time I checked. Now at this point the enemy have got the T-54 on our cap, the E5's headed there as well. Our Löwe is not only low on health but also determined not to be useful this match. He hasn't done a single fucking thing. Our own tanks are still foolishly pushing on the enemy base. I don't know what they thought they were going to achieve there. If I was the E50M, I would have returned to our own base long ago. He should have really turned around and just left those tank destroyers to fend for themselves. But in any case, it's going to be on me to try and defend our cap. And just hope that the guys down south can keep the enemy tanks there occupied, in particular the Object 140, who is a serious threat to my continued existence. Now I follow the road in, this gives me a little bit of cover. Obviously you can see the roads in defilade from these guys. The E5's currently distracted, engaging the Löwe. I was looking the wrong direction as I came into cap. What a genius. I get a low roll, but not too badly, into the T-54 there. He foolishly turns his side. He's lucky that didn't rack him, not that it matters anyway. If that hadn't been a very low roll, that would have finished him. And I wish it had, because I would have survived this engagement. E5 carelessly rolls out, exposing his side. He does get a shot into me though, and this E5, his aggressive play, pushing into my face, is what really sealed this as a win for the enemy team. Because I had to choose between dealing with him and dealing with the T-54 who was threatening my flank, and I really just couldn't afford to take these hits. I go for the 54 here. If I didn't, he would have eventually killed me. The E5 actually bounces. I thought I was lucky and I was going to get this fight, but unfortunately I insisted on pulling out for a full side shot at the E5 and badly underestimated how quickly he would reload, which ended up costing me my tank and costing my team the game. Ultimately, I don't think we would have won anyway. They still had a lot of tanks with a lot of firepower to deal with, but I could have at least prolonged the inevitable a bit more and picked up another kill. At the end of the day, there's only so much you can do to try and carry some teams, and really these guys just did not want to win. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, more than I enjoyed dealing with this loss at any rate. Thanks for watching. As ever, I'll catch you on the next one.